Hey yo, Polyp Works here with One Piece chapter 1095 entitled A World Not Worth Living In. So we got this cover art of a very realistic monkey, very clean monkey, mind you, stealing Buggy's nose, and Buggy is chasing after said monkey. Very interesting. I wonder if there are any lore secrets here because, you know, Luffy's name is Monkey D. Luffy. I've often compared Luffy and Buggy together. So I don't know what this particularly means, but it's very interesting considering where we are in this chapter and whom the players might be later on in this arc or in this flashback, because this seems like it's going to be a start of a multi-chapter flashback. Also, spoilers break next week. Gonna get that out the way now. So boo, but yeah, I'll keep you company during our breaks as always. But yeah, we go back to Egghead, and apparently the weird eye technique that Saturn used to blow up someone's head in the previous chapter works like a weird bullet shot because it hits Bonnie and then he hits Sanji with it. Following, he pulls the sword out of his gut and he heals instantly. This is a callback way back in Impel Down. We find out that awakened Zoans can heal from injury, but back then it was more akin to them kind of just getting back up after being knocked out. Here is full-on regeneration. And from Luffy's fight against Kaido, it was always implied that he was regenerating, but people were kind of on the fence about it. Some people were saying there was generation, other people were saying it was just cartoon antics. But no, yeah, when he got shot by the bolo breath and all that, that was him regenerating. And we see now that, yes, from Jay Garcia Saturn, which I'm thinking he is a mythical Zoan who has awakened because the animal he's based off of seems to be that weird cow spider yokai that people have been passing around. So yeah, instant regeneration is a thing with awakened mythical Zoans, at least. Now with, let's say, regular awakened Zoans, it could all just be the you get knocked out, then you can get back up sort of thing. But I think it would make sense that mythical Zoans who are awakened are on a different tier. It at least makes sense to me. Which goes back to the whole bit about Luffy saying he was about to fall unconscious during his fight against Gear 5th. So yeah, that's interesting, especially seeing as how we're going to see what happens next. Kizaru says he can't get up, and Saturn says that's okay. I think I know why, which, seeing as how they pan over to Luffy, who has become an old man when this is said, means it has something to do with Gear 5th. As you know, Gear 5th is the awakened state of the mythical Zoan, human fruit model Nika. So I'm wondering, based on that and then what people say later about what Saturn has done, I'm wondering if these are the same thing. Most likely they are. So not only can mythical Zoans who are awakened, not only can they regenerate faster than normal awakened Zoans, but they can have this weird fatigue inducement, this weird paralysis inducement when they do something spectacular, I guess, because Gum Gum Star Gun was really weird to me because it didn't knock Kizaru out, obviously, because he's still talking here. But the fact that the strike produced these really weird stars, which to me, these look like 3D stars. They have depth. So it's kind of implying that the attack is special because we haven't really seen anything like that before this. Right? There aren't any Gear 5th attacks that actually produce matter. We've seen Luffy produce matter by taking a bit of his hair and making goggles, but he's never produced matter upon striking somebody. So that's just weird in itself. And, you know, Saturn's about to end this Nika nonsense and stomp on Luffy, but Frankie saves him. Year of Frankie, boys. We're still in it. We're still here. And then Frankie has time to brag, saying, even the leaders at the top of the world are after my captain's head. I love you, Frankie. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. The other part that I'm not really getting, and I wonder if the official is going to call this something else, but Saturn, and when he's talking about Kuma, refers to him as a buccaneer. At least that's how it sounds like it's spelled. Because I've seen it spelled like several different ways, even like the spoilers came out. It was like Buccaneer, and then one spelling had like one less E. It was really strange, which is a sports team. And I think that's a pirate term, like from D&D. I think it's that and swashbuckler. I cannot remember. But that's a very interesting term. And we find out later that that is another term for a half giant. Or at least that's what it seems like, which makes a lot of sense because like I've said before, anytime when you have like a half giant, they're called something else. It's so strange to me. Like way back in the day with Big Pan, who was a part of Foxy's crew, a half fisherman, half giant is called like a wonton or a waiton. So that's the thing. And I've also speculated that the Yeti Cool brothers from Punk Hazard perhaps are also half giants and they're part mink and part giant. So you would call a half mink, half giant a Yeti, which I guess makes a lot of sense because they're hairy. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird. This would be like the second or possibly third time that this has happened. And that opens up the door for a lot of possibilities because now it's like, okay, are all big humans part giant? Because Kuma is the same size as Moria, which that too is very interesting because I've often said that Moria and Kaido and Yamato and most of the Flying Six are a part of the same race. They're all Onis. If you see a horned human, they're most likely an Oni. And, or unless they're like Dillinger and they're part fishmen. But it's super interesting because an Oni would be a half giant too. So we're calling another half giant another term. So we got Onis or ogres, as it's always translated in English. You always get like this weird discrepancy. They never use Oni in English. They always use ogre. So Onis, Buccaneers, wontons, and Yetis possibly are all these different terms for half giants. Super weird. Super weird. And we get another interesting flashback of Bonnie thinking back to Kuma and explaining Nika to Bonnie as as Kuma's father explained to him. And she is relayed the same promise that he was relayed to when he was a child, that Nika would free her. Ooh, lads. Brother, if you don't like the idea of Bonnie joining the crew, I feel bad for you, son. Cause this is setting some stuff up. I'm sorry, bruh. No way. Nah, she's joining. It's too much. There's too much icing on the cake right now. To me, there's just too much. There's simply too much going down. If she doesn't join, all of this preamble would be terrible. But then we flash back to Bonnie's flashback as Saturn is holding her up and the Marines are about to gun her down, and he says aim for the head, which is crazy. But I think after this flashback, Kuma's going to come flying in, and that's going to distract everybody, which will save Bonnie. But no, yeah, she's joining the crew. There's no way. If she's not going to die, and I know that's been a thing that's been going around, especially on my Discord, that she's going to die. Bruh. If she does, I'll get on here and say, you know what, I was wrong. My bad. I'll take the L. But there's too much narrative building going on to say that she's a useless character. I would like to see if she has any sort of position that can be filled on the crew, because right now it doesn't really seem like there is one. She just seems like a fighter because she's good with pole arms, apparently, because she has used a pipe several times. But yeah, we get Kuma's flashback. Apparently, in being a half giant, which I'll take the L on this too. I said he was part of a Big Chin tribe. That wasn't correct. But yeah, because he's a Buccaneer, the Marines are coming for him. So they capture him, his father, and his mother. And from an early age, he was unusually strong. His father explains the sort of importance of Nika to him after telling him that his mother has passed, which is very sad. And it's not clear here, but I guess because his father was keeping up too much racket and explaining Nika to him, a celestial dragon whom are their captors here, has shot him dead, which is, Kuma's got the worst flashback. I'm sorry, Doflamingo. You don't have to counsel this. This is wild. Like, Doflamingo, like, got his just desserts. Cause it's very funny that the two were introduced at the same time, if I recall, and they are both on opposite sides of the spectrum. That's so interesting. You remember, like, back in the day when you see Doflamingo walking to Mary Jo, as we get that funny walking meme about him, and Kuma's right behind him. It's so interesting that they were introduced at the same time, and they're at different sides of the aisle here, because Doflamingo was at the height of society and then fell from grace only to build himself back up. Whereas Kuma has never actually been free, at least not really. And I forgot to mention, they were in the Sorbet Kingdom. So I really am interested to see what happened in which he came back to the Sorbet Kingdom and became their king. Because that's weird. Because right here, it's not really saying that he is anything right now. It's just 47 years ago in the South Blue Sorbet Kingdom. So it's not really saying what position he was in. And these guys don't seem like they're a royal family. They just seem to be like regular folks. So yeah, that's really weird. And we are taken to 38 years ago in the West Blue, which is where God's Valley is. And there is going to be the host of the weird tournament that the Celestial Dragons are having, just called the Population Eradication Tournament. And I guess it's like a bunch of rich people just hunting game. I'm not really sure of the purpose of it. I know they're taking the land because of the resources. Didn't know it was in the West Blue. So I'm wondering what wiped the country, or why was the country wiped? And then as they take the country, they take the natural resources and the natives. That's just weird to me. And then we see a mysterious figure kill the king of this island. Our favorite red-haired boy is not beating the allegations now, is he? Saint Figureland Garland as a young man. Okay. All right. The weird part about him here is that his hair isn't shaded in, which I don't know if that's a week-to-week, like, error, like how, way back when, before the volume came out, S. Bear's hair was black, where it's supposed to be white. So maybe this is a mistake on Oda's part, because if he's a part of the Figureland family, and I'm assuming, seeing as how Shanks is called Red Hair Shanks, red hair is supposed to be a rarity or a sort of thing you can identify Shanks by. So either his mother has red hair and that's another clan altogether, or Figureland here is supposed to have red hair. Shanks has always been shaded in a particular way when they show him. His hair is always shaded. Uta also had the weird shading on the side of her head where it's red. So I'm really weirded out by this, because that means his mother is another family. Though, to be fair, the royal families haven't really been fleshed out. It's really just been Figureland and Don Quixote, I think, because the one dude that wanted Kami, I don't think he has a last name. Charlos? I don't think he has a family name. I can't remember it. Saint Garcia is here too, and he's the same as he's always been. So maybe he is like eternally the same age, because it's weird that this is 4 decades ago and he looks the same as he does in this chapter. So in the present. So that's very weird. And much like how Shanks was swooned over by the various pirates he was allied with, Garling is being swooned over by the Celestial Dragon women. So yeah, them fraud hair allegations are sky high. They're all the way up there, boys. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Especially seeing as how his sword looks like Griffin. Figureland Garland's sword looks like Griffin. So what do we make of this? The fit is clean. No, I will say that. It's clean, but he looks just like Shanks. I don't know, man. But a lot of people are saying that, yeah, he did grow the beard to complete his look, and that that very well seems to be the case. It very well seems to be the case. So he can look like a moon, because he doesn't have a beard here as a young man. So he grew out the beard so he can look like a crescent moon. That's so goofy. I love it. Last page here, which is probably the most important page. We see a child Kuma who has escaped, and the number 10 is mentioned here. As I guess fellow slaves are trying to carry him back, it said, it's a responsibility that the 10 of us have to take. If you run away, the rest of us die too. So why is 10 mentioned? That's interesting. I don't know why the number 10 is mentioned here. Why bring that out specifically? And then we see a young slave, Emporio Evencall. So, oh man, Emporio is his last name? Wait, what, Emporio? All this time I thought that was a title. And this is the first time we've seen him without the lipstick, without the burlesque getup. He's just regular, but he still has his weird arrow chin. And yeah, before the devilfruit, so he has regular proportions. So the weird body that he has all the time, he's doing that on purpose. Because here it doesn't even make sense, the big head and stuff. He's doing that on purpose because of the hormone fruit. That is wild, because he's perfectly proportioned here. Also, the art has been clean all chapter. I gotta say, the art's very clean. And then we meet another character named Jenny. She is a young girl who refers to Evenkopf as her brother, though I guess this is sort of like a adoptive brother, an adoptive big bro, because her last name isn't Emporio. So yeah, what a lot of people have been starting to say is that this is Luffy's mother, because she's shown in her first showing eating a piece of meat on the bone, which man, she could be. Or she could be Bonnie's mother, seeing as how potentially Kuma is meeting her first. Either way, that's fascinating. But this is super interesting because it really puts into perspective how much devilfruits do. Because Evenkopf is just normal here, and he's wearing a Speedo, which is wild. But yeah, I didn't think about that. I didn't think that his entire form was just the devilfruit going wild on him. So all those cosmetic alterations are because of that power. That's so strange to me. I don't know why this baffles me so much, but it does. Ooh wee, that's weird. But yeah, I wonder who is this Jenny girl? Who mother is she? Because she could be Bonnie's mother. She could be Luffy's mother. Oh, and this is also where we see that Buccaneers have giant's blood, which is again weird because that makes them half giants like Onis, and which again, thinking about it, if Onis are also half giants, that means that when Kuma met Moria, that was another meeting of two half giants. You know, that's just weird to me. I don't know why that's so weird, but it is, because Moria I've always thought was an Oni, like Kaido. And then too, both Kaido and Moria have ancient giant lackeys, because of course Moria had oars, and then Kaido had the numbers. Another thing that I think is going on is that, you know who else could be a Buccaneer? Whitebeard. Because Whitebeard kind of has that weird, like, roundish face as a child, like Kuma does. And he's also very big and was known for his strength. So maybe he too was a Buccaneer. I don't know. Because that's really weird to me. Yeah, because I had a video about them being related, and I was saying that their chins are the point of contention. But seeing as how Kuma's dad, whose name is Clap, I think, yeah. Seeing as how he doesn't have a long chin, it's just a big chin, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know. But like this weird, like roundish big body that seems like oddly proportioned might be like the sticking point to identifying who is a Buccaneer and who's not. Which, like, Whitebeard's more proportioned. He's just like a big dude. So I don't know. That's weird. Like, is it possible to identify who is a Buccaneer, who's not? Because like Dalton from Drum looks like roundish in his appearance. He just looks like a round big dude, but he's not as big as Kuma. So yeah, I'm not sure. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah. I want more details on these Buccaneer guys, because this is fascinating. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching.